Guys, welcome back to Coliseum Comics. If you've watched this show, if you've seen me in the stores, you guys know I am one of the biggest Power Rangers fans in the world. Last year, right around this time, we were lucky enough to have the greatest Power Ranger of all time. If you've seen me in the stores, you guys know I am one of the biggest Power Rangers fans in the world. Last year, right around this time, I think is maybe even a little bit cooler. We're here to talk about his new film coming out next year, Legend of the White Dragon. This show, it's awesome to have you back by. You guys know
thank you, man. It's good to be Power Rangers and things like that. Last year, I think it's even go back in. This one actually is the signed one, but the one I actually wear, I do have. But we're giving this away for a contest. I don't know what kind of contest we're doing, but maybe someone for Christmas will win this. But it's good to be back, man. You know, lots going on. I don't know with the world and all that stuff. It feels like we're in season 2 of 2020, but you know, other than that, we've got a lot of stuff going on. The PPP program's been strong, and the movie's been great, and fans are there, and I think everyone's taking advantage of the social media platform, which I think people didn't really use before COVID. So they're seeing how important it is to reach out to people and changing people's lives, even through, you know, social media or these kind of, you know, content interviews and stuff.
So you mentioned, you know, like we're on season 2 of like 2019, and you mentioned your busy schedule. Well, I actually kind of want to congratulate you and talk to you a little bit about your short film / poem that you just released. Wow.
In my head.
There it is, in my head. I got stuck in my head there for a second. That's awesome. I did want to talk about some of the themes from In My Head. Specifically, you'd mentioned things like bipolar and borderline personality, depression.
Well, the reason why I think it's very important to talk about mental health is that right now no one is. We're losing more people to mental health than to any other thing, and everyone's always scared to mention mental health. You know, I deal with a lot of those issues in my life, and it was one of the things. The first poem that I wrote was called "The Mask," and this is before the Joker. This is the drama masks of of drama. You got the happy, you got the sad one, and we all deal with stuff. Even me right now, I'm still dealing with stuff. But we're on, and that's what it is. And it was one of those things where I decided that I wanted to kind of come out and talk about mental health. I write poetry. I've been writing for 10 to 15 years. It's how I cope, I think, and deal with things. That's the only way I can really write. And I have a book of it. And believe it or not, In My Head, Jason Font was really one who encouraged me to keep writing this 9-minute short film. I deal with a lot of depression. I deal with anxiety. I've ran into big actors before. Michael Madsen, who played my father in the movie. We connected, and I'll tell you a little bit more about that when we talk about that. He deals with anxiety. You know, here's a method actor that I'm like, you know, he deals with anxiety, even during filming. You know, I dealt with ADD my whole life, dealt with depression. You know, when you classify bipolar, what do you classify it from, a 1 to 10? And if you get it, then you got it. And it's just a label, and everyone thinks the worst of what you got. You know, narcissists, who people talk about themselves, they're, you know, into themselves. If you can realize and recognize the problem, then you can communicate to fans. I thought, you know, Paul Schreier's a good friend of mine, but he did concern me one day. We're eating Mexican food in McAllen, and he said, "Man, it's too dark. I just want to release it. It's just too dark. I don't think your fan base, you know, will appreciate it." I love Paul, but Paul's very outspoken, but so is Sean Ashton. And he's also a friend of mine that encouraged me to continue writing. And he said, "It's dark stuff." One time he wrote me a poem, and I thought it was very happy. He wrote it just for me, going south, and I still have it, but it's not. It's just for me. But I told Sean, I said, "Sean," it's Sean Ashton, by the way. He's done, Rudy, tons of other stuff. I just see him as Sean now. And
that's a big
yeah. And I said, "Man," I said, "Sean, that was a good poem." He goes, "That was a nightmare." I said, "That was a nightmare, Sean. Are you telling me it was the nightmare? That was the nicest poem you ever wrote." To him, it was a nightmare. So whatever we interpret life or how we deal with things, it is what it is. And I think I have more fans embracing it, understanding it, and saying, "Hey, I've dealt with stuff before, and it's okay for that. And I had Jody Benson come on the show right when this whole COVID thing started happening. Yeah, 2019. Correct me on that, season 2. And she said, you know what? It's okay to feel that way. But what does that mean? It's okay. Are we going to do something about it? Are we going to fix it? And I tell you what, every single person deals with a mental health issue. But do they look in the mirror and address it, or do they just bury it? So in my head there's a lot of other ones. Like, I don't drink. I mean, I haven't in 12 years. Did I before? Yeah, but that's the reason why I put sobriety asleep. If you notice in my poem, he was sleeping. I used to drink, never had a problem, but everyone says they never have a problem. You do stupid things with alcohol, and you're like, I go out and party every weekend. I don't have an issue with it. You're like, you're drunk now. It's one of those things where, we got to be aware of what we deal with. I'm not, I mean, I've made mistakes. I continue making mistakes, but talking about mental health for me, and even about my brother and my mom, it doesn't heal. It takes the Band-Aid off, but there's a scar, and you can always feel it. And that's something that we'll talk about with Michael, how our scene went down in our movie. But in my head was just inspired. I started writing it. I was in Mexico. I was listening to In My Head by Eminem and Cranberries. I love that. In my head. And I was on EFX, and I said, what's in my head? I started dealing with all these issues I was going through. And I wrote it, and I wrote it, and I sent it to Font. I remember I wrote 1 or 2 pages. Said, it's good. He goes, no, I think it's good. Start, And I said, well, I've never really done a 9-minute poem. You know what I mean? And then I'm going to act it out without really rhyming and trying to be a rapper. And he encouraged me through it. And I'm glad he did, because I almost stopped when I sent him something. You know what I mean? There's a lot of range. Dave Yost. I mean, there's a lot of good group of close people, but Jason, we've been really close over the years, and I'll show him that dark side, and he'll go with it. So I did it. I won Best Actor on it. I wanted to show people about acting. I wanted to play.
It's incredible, because I mean, first of all, your facial hair game is on point with every one of those characters. But I mean, the fact that you're, that it's that spectrum of emotion, and you're every one of them, right? That's incredible.
Yeah. Thank you.
But I
was just saying, I had to come up with different choices as an actor, and that's later on. We'll talk about Legend of the White Dragon, but the interview's probably going to be longer than 30 minutes. But anyway, I had to come up with specific things to pick as I would be, as you would be in real life. If you have anxiety, it's not like you deal. It's like, ooh, man. I'm about to go out and perform. Almost everybody has anxiety. I watched John Mundo, John Hennigan that did in Valiant, that played with me in Valiant and the Ninjak versus Val universe. And I guess WWE released him, and I saw his interview about how he had anxiety every time before he performed. Same with me before my fights. So I try to put different characters. Yeah, and of course we started the beard, and then we, but what was confusing is we filmed it all within like a day or two. So you couldn't call me JDF, because that's JDF. And then depression was depression. Anxiety was anxiety. So that's how I was, bipolar is bipolar. Addressed me to that name, because I'm thinking, who in the hell wrote this? Because I got to memorize all my lines now. And it was really hard for me to do it, because I write and I forget. And then I'm thinking, oh my God, I had so much anxiety remembering the lines. Believe it or not, I wrote it, putting it together. So anyway.
Well, it was incredible. I think when we first before we started the show tonight, I told you, like, this is still crazy to me. You were my Superman growing up. And for me, like, something who's dealt with those kind of issues, seeing you say, like, hey, I've dealt with this stuff too, and really talking about it. I think that's important. That's incredible. And it's awesome. If you guys haven't seen it, it's on JDF's YouTube channel, JDFFFN. Go check it out. Which leads me into my next thing I want to talk about tonight. Legend of the White Dragon. I mean, honestly, this thing looks so cool. You're Erik Reed. Last time you were here on the show, we got to talk about it a little bit, because I think you guys were still planning a lot of it. But we're here. So my next question is, when do we get to see a trailer?
Dude, the trailer drops this Saturday at LA Comic Con.
Okay.
In the Bat in the Sun trailer, it is the teaser trailer. And I remember we still got a longer trailer, but it's a teaser trailer of 1.5 minutes that's going to give you one heck of a story, man. I can't believe how great Aaron edited 1.5 minutes of everything. Because, you know, Jenna played my daughter in the movie, and she had, and we'll get more into the movie, intense acting wise. And she played my daughter, really good moving scenes. All the cast will be released. We still have a few, you know, secret cast cameos, but all the cast will be released. King Batch is really funny in the movie. He's our mentor.
He's funny at any time he shows up.
Dude, people would, when we started this whole thing, we started a Kickstarter and we went for a certain amount of money, and I just didn't feel it because we were kind of going off the Power Rangers. Let's bring all the Rangers in. Let's go into this Legend of the White Dragon. Let's try to, like, you know, trick Hasbro and do what we want to do. But then we decided to change it. It was one of those things where that wasn't our story. It was me and Aaron's story from 10 years ago. We dropped the first story. It didn't work. It just wasn't what I felt in my bones. It wasn't what I wanted to do. I wanted to break away from the whole franchise and have nothing to do with it, build a brand new franchise, which the Lineage Pins, by the way, they went pretty crazy. Like, you know, we let them license it, and I was like, yeah, go ahead and license it. And they went crazy. I mean, it went really well. So that just shows me that, you know, 75,000 followers, we're doing something right. But when we did the Kickstarter the second time, I told Aaron, I said, look, it's COVID. It's, you know, we started March. I remember it was supposed to drop March 20th. And then all of a sudden I said, oh, like, we need to respect people and stop it, you know. But then entertainment was the biggest thing going at that time. And so I needed mentally, in my head, mentally, I needed something to be a part of. I started the IG live show 45 days straight with every celebrity you can think of at 7 p.m. sharp, every day, just to have accountability. And I thought maybe we'll be done after that. And then I remember I had close fans that were fans for years. And a couple fans said, well, now's not the time to drop it. People are losing jobs. And I said, you know what? Entertainment's the biggest thing. It's not about money or financial. It's I need to click and connect with the fans. I need to watch that little trailer clip, not the old one, not the 5-minute trailer, the little 30-second clip with the helmet. And then we went with what we wanted to do. And there was a lot of people that didn't continue. And I love Johnny. I love all those guys. They're friends of mine. But there's a lot of people that didn't want to continue because they didn't want to fail again. And which is understandable, especially in the Power Ranger world, because there's a lot of things that went out that didn't kickstart. So people were very leery and scared about it. And, but I wasn't. And so we decided to do something short. It was starting to 5 minutes, and starting to this, and starting to that. And then we kickstarted with a comic book, and then we reach our tier of 500,000. And then we had a secret investor come in, several of them that came in to invest money based off one thing. I met you in 2017 and I wasn't in your line, and you came out and you said hi to me, and you asked if I wanted a picture, and I said, no, it's fine. But you took the selfie anyway, and you gave me a free photo, and I'm very observant. That never happens at cons. This is what he said. That never happens at cons. And we're putting up, you know, we got a really healthy budget. You know, put up over $1 million on one investor alone, just based off that experience. Now, if you treat people equal, for example, when I met you, I did your interview. I had no clue you ran some of the biggest, hottest shops that we'll talk about later. I had no clue. You did. You told me, but see, I wasn't there for that. I didn't know. I didn't say, oh, okay, I'm going to call Billy because, you know, Billy's going to bring me fans. I just did it out of the kindness of my heart to say, hey, man, let's do an interview. You know, I saw that, and I still don't know the subscribers. I don't care about the numbers. I care about you. And that's what people need to understand. It's not the numbers. Now people want this because the numbers are proven. That's right. All what people want, but they didn't before, but now everyone does, and which is great. But, you know, we started it, and then we went into it, and then we're here in the middle of COVID filming. And, but before that, and I'll talk a little bit. Like I said, I know my interview, I told you 30 minutes, but I know we talked about Legend of the White Dragon. The trailer comes out Saturday. There's an extensive universe to this. the pre-sequel comic book, you know, we have like people like Rob Liefeld doing a variant cover, and we have a bunch of people doing variant covers. So our pre-sequel of the comic book would lead into our film, but our film is just on the bottom of where it's going to take you. You know what I mean? Right. It's not like our film's at the top and there's nowhere to go. Our film's on the bottom. That's like Power Rangers could have done, full of action, full of suspense, full of acting, where it can step up. Unlike movies go, okay, well, we're going to create 6 movies like Power Rangers, the new one, which was okay, but we're going to do 6, and we're going to start here, and then we're going to tell the story, and I can't wait till you see number 6. We're starting from here, building up, and because Power Rangers movies should have had the action, they should have had so much more. They should have put Tommy in the movie. They should have connected some of us in the movie like Cobra Kai. It's because a company doesn't look at you, they look at your number. Right. And people only believe in numbers. And that's even like In My Head or Mask, that costs me money to do. I don't make anything. I mean, people go to YouTube. I make no money on that whatsoever. I pay to change lives. And this was a passion project that turned into a bigger project, you know, aiming towards theatrical release next year in August and other platforms, streaming. So I really take acting seriously, and you're going to be able to see it in this movie. And Michael Madsen is going to do an interview, you know, a few of them. And what's so good about this is that I looked up to Michael as an actor from Donnie Brasco, Kill Bill, Reservoir Dogs.
He's one of the coolest guys in the world. Like you mentioned, you know, he said he had anxiety. Like he seems like the chillest guy that has ever lived. He's just like that version of cool, right? Like that we all want to get.
Yeah. And you know what's interesting about that is, you know, everyone want to be a tough guy. Tough guy is being transparency, right? Like now when I'm talking and I'm done talking, I go into my life and I continue talking. And then I talk to you like this versus like, hey, well, I'm on your show and I'm having a good time. And then I go back to my life, and then I'm camera ready. You see Michael and you know, method actors, they go into it like this. They, you know, Michael came up and said, didn't look at me in the eyes, came in, very nice guy, but didn't look at me in the eyes at all because he's a method actor. And he said, all right, so you're my son. All right. How long I've been in jail? All right, what's your daughter's name? Okay, I understand. Because that's his part of the film. Not necessarily he has to figure out, there's a lot of stuff that's going into it. Dad ran into like a crystal that has some powers that he ends up passing, but there's passing to me, and there's a lot of stuff going on. But what was great about that is I came off like a real tough guy. Just, you know, it was really intense. Erik Reed, I built my character really intense. And we only locked eyes like this when we did our scene. And you know, we did our scene. The rehearsal was great, and he was blown away with the rehearsal. And then we had 2 cameras because Michael doesn't stick to the script. We like to ad lib a little bit. And it makes it more real. So we did the second take, the first take, and I was like, I don't know what just happened. All the emotions just closed. Like every emotion I had for the rehearsal just closed up. Then I realized one thing. Actors sometimes want to do their job and just leave without being emotionally affected by what goes on in the scene. Meaning, when Erik Reed is so intense that I was so messed up in the head that I had to carry that residual, you know, acting the whole 3 months where, you know, even Sean on set's like, man, you're too intense, tone it back. It's not real. It's part of my character.
Right.
So me and Michael did the second take and we connected, man. And I see Michael cry, and I'm doing my scene. I throw my phone down. I think it's part of the scene. I run back there and tell Michael, everything okay? Because it's supposed to be that type of scene. It's awkward. It's weird. I haven't seen my dad a long time in jail. We emotionally break. You see it in his eye. And he just said he went to a dark, deep place, man. And we hugged each other and we cried, and we're still friends. And sometimes as an actor, and he told me this, which made so good. He says, you know, it feels so effing good to sit across at a table with someone that knows what they're doing.
Oh, man, that's got to feel good.
Yeah, dude. And I was like, wow, like I never got a chance to grasp a lot of acting. And what's powerful in this movie is when I first read it, right? even Sean, Shonky, Aaron, they didn't really necessarily know in depth of how I'm going to go to this character, if I can pull it off, sort of say. So there wasn't a lot of dialogue, but you don't need a lot of dialogue like in Braveheart with Mel Gibson.
Right.
You don't need dialogue to move the audience, you know? And so that was a great thing. And we still talked, and he talked about his dad. He sent me pictures, and, you know, we love motorcycles, and, you know, we have issues. He does poetry. I don't know if y'all know that, but he does poetry, and his poetry is flat like this, like literally like my mom was raped, this happened, that happened. There's no emotion flex in his tone. So I respect him as a poet, but they're dark. I mean, you can Google him and he'll talk about hit someone in the head with a crowbar. And, you know, it's very flat poetry. So we connected on that. The only difference is I don't see, Michael's never really moved as that, as I saw him as a kid. Like I've never seen Michael cry as a kid. But it was part of that scene that all worked it out. And that's why actors sometimes, it carries the residual effect of like, man, 2 days I got to think of my dad, but it's a good thing to do that. And it was such an honor to hear that from him, because I really thought I screwed up, and I thought maybe he didn't like me, maybe something was wrong. But when you connect, you get lost in the movie, and that's the way you need to do. And transparency and being a method actor, see, we couldn't hear through the windows because we had 2 jail phones, so we couldn't hear. So without yelling on the phone, it sounds too stupid that we really got to talk quiet and talk like this. And he's got to talk quiet. And then there's a scene in there where he goes, "What'd you say?" Is because he really can't hear me through the glass, but it's all part of the scene. And so it was really great to have that. And so that was Chris J's the one that worked that together, and Bat the Son. They put Michael because they know I love Michael, and he played my dad. When we talk about Erik Reed, I know you mentioned the 1263. Is that where you're talking about, that picture?
Yeah, on one of the production stills, there's a picture of you kind of like looking very intense and badass. But on the side here, you got a 1623 tattoo. I was going to ask, what's the significance of that tattoo?
Okay, so we started this movie as just a regular, like, hey, let's cover your tattoos, let's comb your hair like you were in, you know, Power Rangers and all. I told Aaron, I don't want to do that. I just don't want to do it. I don't want to cover my tattoos. I got tattoos during quarantine. I got, you know, I'm all tatted up. I mean, I just don't want to do that. Let me build a character. Let me build a deep past character of who Erik Reed is. And the beginning of the movie, you'll see me with the hair, no tattoos. And then Erik Reed disappears, right? He disappears. This is basically what's on the pin here. And I can elaborate more onto the story. But it says, after being a fugitive on the run for 3 years, the White Dragon, Erik Reed, has returned to his city he fought to protect. He must now clear his name and save the family he keeps in secret before the mysterious Dragon Prime unleashes his own revenge on him. So I was the Legend of the White Dragon. My dad, he was the difference. I was a treasure hunter in my life. I was a treasure hunter. And in the sequel, I didn't really necessarily was a martial arts master in my story, my background. I was a treasure hunter, but my dad was a thief. So we hunted for the same thing. But we had the same blood, but I was hunting for the good, and my dad was hunting for the bad. And my dad came across something that was a crystal that was that held a lot of power that he didn't know what to do, and he got locked up for it. And the only person he entrusts is me, but yet I don't have a relationship with my dad. So every time, every time I talk to my dad, he always wants something, put money on the books, do this, do that.
Right.
So I built this backstory of Erik Reed. Once he was on the Legend of the White Dragon, he got kind of, he felt there's 1263 that represents something you guys will find out in the movie, but he holds a lot of guilt. This is his first tattoo that he ever got that holds a lot of guilt for this number. My idea was to shave the mohawk. My idea was to put 1263 on my head. That was my choice as an actor. Also, my choice as an actor was to show all my tattoos after the 3-year period, because where did Erik go after 3 years of feeling guilt and in my head and screwed up with his addictions? He went somewhere for 3 years and then came back and pretty much got saved by his team, Iris, Rachel plays Iris, and then Jason Font plays Connor. So they bring me back into this world that I want no part in, being the Legend of the White Dragon. But he's really screwed up from his past. He's been in his past. 1263 actually goes into its own comic series. So you're going to be able to read into a 4-part issue we're working on now of where Erik Reed went, and that story alone belongs on Netflix. I mean, it is a badass side story. And again, that he didn't have tattoos, so he comes back like this. And there's a whole history why Erik Reed came back like this. I mean, I went really deep with my character. So when Erik Reed comes back, he's really in his head. You know, his families, everybody wants to kill him. Everybody wants him. The mayor's so strict on putting him behind bars. There's cops, there's crooked cops. Like, Erik Reed can't trust anyone. He trusts his team, Iris and Connor. King Batch is our mentor in this accepted saber lab that we have. He's our mentor, and he brings the comedy, but Erik Reed is not one to joke. So we have a bit of a conflict. It's a really serious situation, but King Batch stepped up and did a heck of a job in the movie, and you'll get to see it into the trailer. And then, my team tries to bring me back to become this superhero again that I want no part in. And we have to get the crystals. We have to. You're going to see in the trailer that I haven't revealed another suit that I'll probably start posting pictures soon. It's another suit that I have that's in the trailer that will have to go to these recharging pits to get these crystals that hold this power. Meanwhile, Dragon Prime, played by Aaron, the crystal breaks. And something happens with Jai's character where he blames my character for. But my character has the blood of the DNA to activate this crystal, but he doesn't. So therefore, he's got to do what he's got to do to activate the crystal by infusing whatever he's got infused in his body that's going to be poison to him to become the Dragon Prime. But that's just a story. In the beginning of the movie, we have me and another bad guy that crashed into the movie. So everyone thinks I'm gone. Everyone thinks I'm dead. And these guys are to bring me back into the story. So there's also a lot of flashbacks that go into the story of how I became the Legend of the White Dragon. And it's a really intense acting movie. We have almost everyone getting emotional in it, from Michael Madsen to, Mark Dacascos did great as the monk. Really great actor, man. And I had him on the live show in 2019 for no reason at all. His son's a big fan, and I love Mark. And I said, Mark, after John Wick, I saw John Wick 3. I said, dude, that dude's a badass. Oh my God, that's Mark. So I always wanted to work with him. Yeah. And now I'm working with him. I got fight scenes with the guy. He's a monk, and he's a good guy that helps me out.
Wait, you fight with each other or against each other? Because this is a fight I kind of want to see now.
It's very short.
Okay.
Because Erik can't trust anyone. So he's very on edge when anyone comes, very on edge. But the scenes, and of course, Kevin Porter played a big part in it. He was, the Dynasties with Bat in the Sun went viral. That thing just, it went amazing. And Kevin, I have a big fight scene with Kevin Porter, and then Mei Ling, who was in Suicide Squad. We had a huge fight scene. There's so much action. But what I decided to do with Erik Reed, get back to that, Mohawk, put my tattoo, have him complex, have him in his head, have a lot of emotions building up, and a lot of regret, and a lot of anger, and a lot of bitterness. And I wanted him to train in Muay Thai. That's my character choice. No Power Ranger stuff, no rolling, flipping. As the White Dragon, he does. I got flying powers. I mean, this dude's got flying powers. He's got like saber claws. Like, he's got powers. But as Erik Reed, I decided to choose Muay Thai, something that Tommy Oliver didn't have. So it's a complete different style. And then, he finds himself, and he's still keeping his family in secret. And, when this family reunites, stuff happens all over again. So it's like, I'm free mentally, and now I'm not. But the next step of mentally is almost numb, right? So I couldn't start Erik Reed as numb, because I'd become a bad actor. Because people are like, look at him, Keanu Reeves type of thing. I think Keanu's great, but a lot of people they think he doesn't go deep enough. But for me, I got my teeth soaked into this. So when I pull my helmet off and you see the hurt through my eyes, we're going to captivate the audience. And Sean and Aaron, Sean Shonky does a lot of stuff. They edit and all. And Sean said, hey, I'm going to be honest with you, man. You've moved this whole movie to another level. Like, I didn't think things like this could be possible, moving it to another level. And he's seeing things that he didn't see doing the fan films. So he's watching and watching. He said, man, the minute you took your helmet off, I was hooked to your character. I saw the pain. I saw all this. And I said, is that why y'all didn't give me dialogue? Because I don't need dialogue to drive the audience. And he said, kind of. He goes, I believe in you, but I didn't know how good you really were and how you're driving this movie and how you can play tennis with Michael Madsen, a tennis match with one of my favorite actors, and have him vouch for me and do any interview and say, I'll tell. And this is also what he said in the last thing too, that he's worked with big name actors and that almost didn't compare to working with me. And you have to understand, that's like the biggest compliment. So like how you say, I'm meeting Jason and Frank, I'm done, bucket list done, I can die now. It's like one of those things where that's how it was for me to be like, finally, you know, I got a movie where I can sink teeth and people can say, oh, he can act. Because the Power Ranger world, there's no acting credibility at all. I think there was, because it's hard to make something cheesy easy. You know, and as you see other seasons, I think they get worse and worse and worse. In my opinion, no offense to other stuff, but Font's season was a strong acting season. Like his season was strong. And there's other seasons that they just don't give them material, so it sounds bad. It's not that they're bad actors. It's just there's not material to sink our teeth in. So that's why in my head, in the Legend of the White Dragon, you know, was developed. It started as a passion project, and every day we filmed, we had COVID tests every day, and every day we filmed, I produced the movie as well as with Chris J was on set every single day. Aaron is acting, directing, producing, editing.
I don't know how he does it. That guy is a machine, dude, Aaron.
You need to get him on here when he's not so busy as how he directed. Amazing.
We connected last year. He's an awesome guy. I'm a huge fan of Bat in the Sun, the superhero SmackDown stuff. That is always awesome. And as soon as he's not done doing 6 jobs on this film, I promise, like, I would love to have him sit down with him for Coliseum Forum. But I'm going to take this opportunity because I want to take this chance to ask my 2 big fanboy questions about Legend of the White Dragon. First, who wins in a fight, Erik Reed or Tommy Oliver? I got to ask.
No, honestly, and no lie, between them both, Erik Reed is much stronger. I think Erik Reed is much stronger power, but Erik Reed is more mature. That he picks, and even his style of martial arts, it's like almost having a turtle going against Master Splinter. You know what I mean? So you got like Tommy Oliver going against Erik Reed. It's kind of like Erik Reed is the Master Splinter of those turtles, and Erik Reed winning, not just because I'm saying that, but literally the powers, the invisibility powers, the flying, the Wolverine, you know, sword, everything I like was put into this universe. You know what I mean? But yeah, for sure, I think it would be Erik Reed just because he's older and wiser.
And we got, last time you were on, we got to talk about this. You ride, I ride, Erik Reed rides. That Harley that he's riding in that movie. Can you tell us a little bit about it? Like what model Harley is that? Obviously, it's got a ton of custom work on it.
Yeah, I do. I love riding, man. I just got a lowrider S. I got a Indian Dark Horse Challenger. I work a lot of, you know, I look at bikes and, you know, road glide special. I got shovel heads. I got a shovel pan, all the suicide shifters. One of the suicide shifters, jockey shifts, has the Green Ranger helmet, and one of them have the Legend of the White Dragon helmet. So I ride a lot. Now in the movie, we picked up the Fat Boy S. It's a 2016 Fat Boy S. We had a custom sissy bar made that was like Scorpion's tail, and we just kind of blacked it out. We made it an Erik Reed blacked out bike. It's a 110 Screaming Eagle. It's fast. It's got a lot of torque. It's loud, and Erik. And that's another thing that I brought. And you mentioned another thing. So I brought Erik Reed into his 1263 world. He gets a cut. So he's with the Outlaws in this 3-year world. And when he gets this cut in his motorcycle that carries into this world, it means a lot to him riding a motorcycle. But there's a point in the movie where he takes his cut off and he gives up that old life to begin a new life. That kind of puts his old life behind, but his old life's not behind when you read the 1263 comic. But I also put the motorcycle in there. I put the mohawk. I put 1263. I left all the tattoos in. I mean, Aaron did his work and I did my work as an actor. And I went so deep into developing a character that this book, the 1263 side project, that's literally what it's called, is going to be an awesome heck of a read. It's kind of like a Punisher, Frank Castle kind of movie.
So he's like in an MC during that 1263 time. Is that, did I understand?
Yeah, possibly.
Okay, possibly.
Special. Yeah. And as you understand, in the motorcycle culture, the motorcycle club culture, a cut is everything to you. But the cut is plain. I'll tell you a little bit about there. If you're in the motorcycle world, it's not, there's no 3 patch. It's a very plain cut. Maybe he didn't make it to the next level, but he is definitely, I thought this with Erik Reed. What does an outlaw do on the run? What does he do for 3 years? He's mad at the government because the government's trained him. He can't trust anyone. There's a lot of things he can't do, but maybe he can do things that motorcycle club cultures could do, is take care of the law in his own hands and get things done quicker than the police department. And that's kind of this 1263 world where the people he hangs with, that he needs to hang with, when you're talking about outlaws or you're talking about motorcycle clubs, the people he hangs with, very small handful of people that have loyalty, that, will carry the loyalty, will carry the brotherhood, will never lie, never steal. It's a very small world. And those are the people that he can only trust, but he doesn't tell them who he is. And that's already against the law of not lying to who you hang with. And it gets him in a bit of a trouble when he comes back into this world. So, when you say an outlaw, he keeps to himself. He has to keep his identity a secret. Therefore, why keep my hair combed the way it is and not have no tattoos and not have a mohawk? Right. Why? He has to hide. First thing he does, boom, he shaves his head. First tattoo he gets is 1263. That's the guilt he feels as a reminder. As every day he looks in the mirror, he sees that number and he's reminded of what he's done. And that's the first tattoo. And then through the whole comics of 1263, I come back pretty messed up. And with Rachel, she did awesome in the movie, by the way. Big shout out to Rachel playing Iris, Team Iris. She asked me a question in the movie, what happened in those 3 years? And it's another story for another day, which at that time wasn't even a comic book. That line was already in there before it was all developed anyway. Right. And there's a lot of similarity stuff that you'll see that all ties into this universe. And then, my wife, I almost said her name. You'll figure it out in a few days. She plays my wife. She has her own backstory, and Jenna has her own backstory. Jason Fawn, Rachel, we all have our own backstories, but I took my backstory to a whole new level and put it into a story in a comic book. Put it that way.
So I know you got some plans after this. I think you mentioned some sparring, but I have a couple more questions for you. So you've got reshoots coming up this month, right?
We have a couple insert shots. We got a couple not necessarily reshoots. I'm kind of glad we left one scene out, which me and it's actually being rescued and being taken back into this world. So it's a scene that takes place in a truck. And what I'm so blessed about is that we didn't film it at that time, because now this is the time where there's going to be a little things that attach to the 1263 world. It just happened to be that way. So right. A couple dialogue, a couple lines, a couple, hey, add a whole new life. What's going on? You guys screwed things up over here. I don't want to come back to this world. So, right. But yeah, we'll be getting back together. The team will be getting back together after the LA Comic-Con, the movie trailer premiere. I'll be at the LA Comic-Con in Bat in the Sun's panel. I'll be there at 12:20. They're talking about Diana Zizi, but also in Ciara, she played a big part in the movie. Now, is she have a lot going on in the movie? She plays a really important part in this movie for Dragon Prime, for Jai. And so as far as Rangers, people ask which Rangers. You'll find out about my wife, but she's done a lot of other stuff than Power Rangers. She's known for a lot of other things. You got Jason Font and you got Sierra in there. And then I don't think we have any other Rangers, because the way we wanted to do it is we wanted to build it and base the numbers to try to get this theatrical release and get it out on a different platform for a whole new universe. And right. I'm telling you, you're going to love it. Our fan base is blowing up. We are giving, okay, look, you're a fan. I'm the actor, I'm a fan of the fans. And Aaron is a big fan. He can do really cool stuff. So right. we all get together, and Jay, Chris Jay's a fan. We're all passionate about it. And what do we develop? Magic. And that's the way you get a project done. Not, okay, Lionsgate, this is what we're going to do based off of numbers. We're going to spend $100 million, and then the movie didn't make what it makes. Now we're selling it to Hasbro. Hasbro's sitting on it. I did the Lord Draken. I own the digital rights to the Lord Draken series. It's never went nowhere. When is someone going to say, hey, now's the time? Well, we took initiative, and we're now moving our fan base into a little bit more mature, I'd say darker, gritty, a little bit more mature film. But now I have little kids, a ton of little kids now all over again. And this movie is fine for little kids. They might not understand and grasp the story, but they're going to love the action in it. So, you know, I kept the F-bombs out of the movies. I just kept it out. Although Erik Reed would probably say it every single day in his 1263 mature comic book for you guys. It ain't gonna be for kids. I don't care about that. He's been through a lot, so we'll save it for the books. But anyway, it's gonna be good and fun for everyone. And I'm just glad to say we're done. And it's already in the process, and the trailer's coming out, because anyone can say, oh, I got big things coming. And then I say, well, where's your big stuff, bud? You said that 2-3 years ago. What do you got? I got this coming out. Where is it? Now we're done. And we got it, and it's there, and the money's there. Everything is in place. The rewards are going out. People that are watching, we have over $100 and something thousand in rewards. People watching are asking, you got your shirts, you got your posters. We cannot deliver the DVD yet, guys. We cannot deliver the Blu-ray yet. We cannot deliver the script yet. There's rewards that we have to wait in order to deliver it. So there's a lot of things that I have to tell fans to wait on certain things, but you can't deliver rewards until it's out on DVD. So other than that, we're on top of it. And I had a fan question me on my page about it, more in a stern way. And I got back to him, inboxed him, and he said, this is Jason David Frank getting back to me on a $75 reward. I said, sure is, man. I said, look, I don't like to have any kind of that on Instagram. What's the problem over there? And he lives in another country, and he was asking about the DVD and was asking. I told him, look, I'm happy to give your money back, and I'm still going to give you everything, the DVD and all that stuff. I'll send you an extra shirt. And he said, no, I don't want my money back. I said, then I just want you to understand how it works. But he went on my page and said, I can't believe it. So y'all don't complain now, because I ain't got time to go back to everybody. But I will go through stuff, like at your shows. I want to make sure everyone leaves happy. And so I do take initiative.
So everybody gets to sit here and listen to me ask all my fanboy questions and stuff. But last year you came, you visited Coliseum Kissimmee. It was a huge success. We had like a bunch of like a couple hundred people that were just, had probably their best fan experience. So this time we're going to do it a little bit bigger. You're going to do 3 Coliseums over 3 days. Coliseum Oakleaf in Jacksonville on the 10th. Coliseum Kissimmee again on the 11th, and then Coliseum New Tampa on the 12th. So that way, if you guys didn't like any of my questions, you guys can come ask them yourself. Jason's going to be there last man standing. Come have your own Power Rangers experience. This is my show. I'll ask whatever I want. You guys come see him in person and ask yourself.
It's going to be great. And, last time we're still doing the ticket system, which is good for one ticket for a group. I'm still trying to keep things safe, but overall, it's got bigger. I've done over, well over 110 shows, giving back merchandise, signed things, left over like $500,000 worth of stuff that, stores will come like you. I'm like, bring it, Billy, bring it. No, it's enough. Bring it. Let me sign all the extra stuff. Let's leave it behind. Do what you want. Give it to your staff. Sell it, raise money, whatever it is. I've done that too. The smaller shows as well, that the small mom and pop shows really, really need that help during that time. But here we are. Almost exactly to the same date, kind of, I think. I don't know when we did it last time.
We're like right there at a year. Yeah.
Yep. And then, but I didn't do Jacksonville, and I didn't do
Tampa.
In Tampa. Okay.
Yep.
So yeah, back-to-back 3 shows. I'm excited. You guys can come out. And of course, right after LA Comic-Con, I'm going to push it a little harder on my Instagram. This is the last tour of the year for me. I can't believe a year went by so fast, but thanks to the fans, thanks to everyone watching and working and all that stuff. And you also, did you have Jason Font on here?
We did. I actually got to meet Jason Font and interviewed him a couple weeks ago, and then he came down and he visited some of our stores. That was awesome. I mean, outside of Tommy Oliver, who's cooler than Jason Font as a Time Force Ranger, right?
Yeah, it's cool, dude. I mean, we've been friends for a long time, and we're pretty transparent, and we have those friend talks like, hey man, like, if you ever need anything, let me know, talk, friends, friends don't get mad at friends. If you are, you got to like talk it out. But Font is one guy that I would never, ever get mad at. You know what I mean? He's just such an open guy.
He just has that energy, man. Like
he does, dude. He does. And also the mention the CGC signing, the books are closed now, but I'll be out there just doing a private signing for everyone to watch me sign on the CGC, which is pretty cool because I got to get a few books, get CGC too. I got a lot of them. I didn't have that when I was growing up and collecting the books, but anyway, I got to get that going.
See hardcovers, but I've got this one waiting for you. I need your signature. So
hey, I'm ready for that one, man. I'm ready for that one. But yeah, I'm excited to come out, dude. I'm excited for that. I'm excited to debut the. I've never done a LA Comic-Con ever in California. I've never done a show in California besides Paramorphicon. I grew up there. I mean, in the last 10 years, I really never done one. So this is my first time at LA Comic-Con, and we're doing it in the Bat in the Sun panel. If you guys check the con guide, I'm not signing until 1 o'clock on Saturday until everybody's done. But it's the Bat in the Sun panel, and I'll be there. The Bat in the Sun panel starts like at 11. I forgot what room, but I'll be there at 12:20, and then Jenna's coming. She played my daughter, and then my wife in the movie's coming. And of course, Kevin Porter played Lighthouse. He's already there because they're talking about Batman dying easy. And then Aaron Schonke's there because he played Dragon. But anyway, it's going to be a blast. So you guys come down, check it out. Now we will release the trailer right after it's debuted, and hopefully you guys will enjoy it. And there's a lot more to come from that.
So East Coast, West Coast, Jason David Frank's got you both covered this month in December. Come out and see him at LA Comic-Con, where they're going to premiere the trailer that I'm excited for. It is going to go online after the con, right?
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. It's going to go online for sure. I kind of wanted to do a live thing on YouTube, which we still might do. It's just a lot of promotion, but I think we might go on live on Aaron's. I'll talk about going live on the YouTube as well, but we got so much going on. But yeah, the minute it hits, it's going. Right after we show it, it's going online. So you'll be able to see it Saturday. You'll be able to see the trailer.
So if you miss him at LA Comic-Con, you're also going to have the chance to meet him at Coliseum Oakleaf on the 10th, Coliseum Kissimmee on the 11th, and then Coliseum New Tampa on the 12th. And hey, if you want to make the drive, come visit him on all 3. I'm sure he'd love to see you. Jason, thank you so much, man. You are the best.
Thank you, buddy. I appreciate you, man. Thank you guys for all the fans. Thanks everyone for watching, and go watch all the other videos he's got in here. He's got some cool content. Thank you all, and you all are the best. And I would say it's more of a time, but this time I'm saying White Dragon, and I'm gonna show you this cool little pillow. I'm just intrigued, like whoop, and whoop. There we go, and White Dragon, bam, there we go. All right, anyway. But yeah, thank you guys, and I can't wait to see everyone out there in December.
Thank you.